I like to talk about this so-called mystery religion of Babylon. It's not a mystery anymore. And it's not because of Mr. Jones' piece last night, which was, well, not exactly the whole story. It's very easy for us to cast other people into an unfavorable light because we don't understand something. The truth of the matter is that the so-called mystery religion of Babylon, well, that heavily influenced the book of Genesis. First of all, I'd like to talk about the nature of God in Genesis. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the bird of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. I had several people who were writing about how I was writing about the Babylonian mystery religion and I was combining it with the Bible. Folks, first of all, this is the first time that I have even discussed the Babylonian mystery religion in any of my videos. Secondly, this book, especially Genesis, is so heavily influenced by the mythology of Babylon, it'll make your head spin. People, where do you think your Bible comes from? He created him, male and female. He created them in his own image. Well, if there's a male and a female, that would be at least two. Yes, the Godhead is male and female, and I don't have to go any further than this book to prove that. Now, as far as Babylon and how that book is so influenced by Babylonian mythology that the very characters that we find in the story of Adam and Eve, in the story of the Tower of Babel, and so on, are characters from their gods from the Babylonian mythology. I'm not here telling you that the Babylonian mythology is true. But what I am telling you is that the book you read, called the Holy Bible, you think just descended down from heaven, didn't. Around 600 BC, the Israelites were captured and taken to Babylon. That's historical fact, and it's in the Bible as well. Not a word of this Bible had been written. Then when they come back after 100 years or so in exile in Babylon, all of a sudden you've got what we now call the Old Testament. It's not very difficult to put two and two together when you've got things like the Epic of Gilgamesh that is directly taken from Babylonian mythology and placed in here and called the story of Noah and the flood. But if you need references, this book, you should read this book before you start condemning Babylon, because the only thing you're condemning is the very book that you read and say is so true, yet was directly taken from Babylonian mythology. I'm reading from Genesis of the Grail Kings by Lawrence Gardner. This man has done a tremendous amount of research. He didn't just pull this out of the sky. In the 6th century BC, when the Israelites were captives of Nebuchadnezzar, the Enmuah Elish was a standard recitation at the New Year's festival in Babylon. This was the story of the creation of the world, and had been for many centuries. The festival lasted through the first 11 days of Nisan, modern March through April, and the poem, more than 920 lines, was related in its entirety by the high priest, with parts of the story reenacted. There were no way that the old creation epic could have escaped the attention of the Israelites, and they were clearly fascinated by its content. By that time, they were referring to their God as Jehovah, having dispensed with the Canaanite names El Elyon and El Shaddai. But it matters not that the Babylonians called their deity Marduk, for here was a story of universal creation being ritualistically played out before their very eyes. Thus was the biblical Genesis born, and the onlooking Israelite priest made their notes of record. There was, however, a distinct difference between the Babylonian epic and the resultant Genesis account. In the former tells not only of a group, god Marduk, but his being one of a pantheon of gods, a group of deities, who in the parallel Canaanite tradition were called the Elohim. For the verse quoted above, the Enmuah Elish continues. Hence, we can see how the biblical Genesis that we know so well has been manipulated, even from the text of the 6th century BC Israelite exiles. For like the Babylonians, they too recorded gods in the plural. The Elohim fraternity of El Elyon, a definition that was singularized to accommodate the emergent all-embracing concepts of Jehovah. Perhaps we should remind ourselves that once again of Jehovah's words from Genesis, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and behold, the man has become one of us. Now, I'm reading from one passage in this book. If you want to know where your Bible comes from, read this book. It's very good. It's very well researched. The man is not a fool. What's my point? Since you all out there who are so brilliant, who are sending me these messages, look, don't worry about how crazy I am. Worry about how crazy it is that you take all the words in here from somebody else and don't take your time to read this book and research your own beliefs. Babylon. Mystery religion. Look, it's not a mystery. There are so many books written about this. You know, I get this book on Amazon. I didn't have to swear blood oath in order to buy this book, okay?